Hi, welcome. My name is Michelle Dutrissa, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stamping Up. So, welcome today to my live, and I'm glad you're able to join us. Now, please, if you're new on here, please jump on and say hello and let us know where you're from. We get people visiting us from different parts of the places around the world, and it's always great to be able to say hello to you. So I've got this on my business page, and I've also got it viewing on my um, VIP page and also on YouTube. So we can have quite a few people from quite a few different places, as well as from different places around the world. Now today we're going to make a little bit of a fun photo album, which I'm hoping is going to be quite simple and quick for you to make. So I'm going to turn my camera down and let's get started. Hi Lorraine, how are you? Thank you for joining. So Deborah, good afternoon. So let me just turn my camera down. Won't be 1 second. There we go. There's my desk view. So as a lot of you will know, the Stamping Up mini catalogue is now available and up and running. And if you want to purchase products from here and you don't have a demonstrator and you'd like a copy of these catalogues, please let me know. Of course, you can go over to michelledutrissa.stampingup.net to find my shop. Hi, Anita. How are you? Welcome today to purchase anything from here. Now, along with the mini catalogue, we also have the Sale-A-Bration Catalogue. So anything you purchase from the mini catalogue or the annual catalogue that comes to $90 or up to $100 or $180, can be more than that, of course. But for $90 or $180, you can get products for free from our Sale-A-Bration catalogue. Our Sale-A-Bration catalogue only goes for 2 months. That's only for January and February. So now's the time to jump in and get those products that you may be after. Now, what we're going to be using today is one of the products out of the Sale-A-Bration catalogue, and it is, I must say, probably one of my favourites. And it's this one here, the Flight and Airy Designer Series paper. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a play with this paper today. So let me just get rid of this out of our road. I'm going to pop that into there because otherwise I'm going to lose it. And let me just put it up here on my shelf. Okay. Cold and windy where you are, Lorraine. Well, that's not good. But I suppose you're hitting the cold months and we're in our warm months. It's quite muggy here at the moment. Not too high in temperature, but just very humid and muggy. Okay, so this is a little mini album. Now, this one is not completed. But this one is one that I made as a demo album many years ago before I was actually even in Stamping Up. So this little book here has to be at least 13 years, 12 to 13 years old. And I'm going to show you how to make this. Now, it's got a hinge on the side, and as you can see, you've got holes there. And that's to take these. Now, I had to sort of dig around in all my stuff to find these. I don't even know whether you can buy these anymore. I know you can get a plastic equivalent to it. You've got to be very careful with these because they are a little bit sharp. They are metal, but it's a little hinge piece for files. So you've got 2 pieces to it. And that's one piece, and that's the other piece there. So the idea of this little book is you use these pieces here, pop it through the holes, fold them down. Whoops, got to put this piece on first. So I'm sort of showing you the end of it rather than the beginning of it, but there is an alternative for doing this. And I think I've got that in upside down. Shows you how long since I've used this. I've got a little sliding piece. Now, there are different variations of this because I'm sure there was another type years ago. Fold that down, slide that back, fold that down, and slide that over. Anyone who's worked in an office probably about 20 odd years ago would know these. Bit muggy where you are too, down in Victoria, Anita. So that's the idea and how this little book does up. And then what I would do, because this can be quite sharp, is wrap ribbon. So you thread your ribbon in underneath and then tie a ribbon all down there. Of course, the other thing that you can do, let me just take this off. Whoops. The other thing that you can do is actually, especially if you're going to have children looking at this, is just thread ribbon through those holes and tie it off in a firm knot. So this is what we're going to be playing with today, but I just wanted to show you that just in case you had some of these lying around, or whether they're still available to buy in different areas. I'm just not quite sure at the moment, but as I said, you do have to be careful with them because they can be very sharp. I did a class on this many years ago, and that's why I've got a box. I think I've got a box of 50, probably only ever used about 5 or 6 of them. Anyway, I'm going to try to do that up later on. I'm going to pop that out of the road. So I just wanted you to see it. So that's the idea of this little book. The book is about 4 inches wide, or 10 centimeters in width, and it is 6 inches. So it's 10 by 15.2 or 4 by 6 inches. Okay, so it's only just for little photos you'd cut down, or if you go to somewhere like Harvey Norman, where you can get photos printed, you can get little 3x4s printed as well, which would work in this album. So it's great if you just want to make a little gift album, or, you know, for someone who's celebrating a birthday, a special birthday, or someone, newborn baby. What else? A little wedding album, an album for a grandma who's just become a grandma, or grandpa, little, you know, what do they call them? There was a name for them. Can't even think now what the name was for them. Brag book, that's what they were, like a little brag book. The other thing is too, you could just put little quotes in there. You don't need to put photos in it. And of course, we're going to decorate the front. I just never got around to decorating the front of this. So let me show you how to make this little book and how to put it together. As I said, it is quite simple. You do need 12 by 12 cardstock. So what I've done is I've taken 2 sheets of 12 by 12 basic white cardstock, or you could use some of the colors. You could use multicolors. You don't have to do them all the pages in one sheet, because I think it's only really the white and maybe the very vanilla you can get in a 12 by 12. I know towards the end of last year they had some 12 by 12 in basic black, and I bought some. But I mean, you only need 2 sheets. So if you bought a mixed pack of, you know, like your subtles or your brights or whatever, you do get 2 sheets in there. So that's all you would need for this. So I've already pre-cut this, and I've pre-cut it into my 4 inch. I'm using 4 inches because it is slightly wider, and our cardstock, our 12 by 12 cardstock, it's easier just to talk in inches. So this is sort of one of those moments where I flip between inches and centimeters, so please excuse me if I do that, because usually with scrapbooking I'm more likely to talk in inches, whereas in card making I'm more likely to talk in centimeters. Why? I don't know, but that's just the way my brain has worked with this. So what I've done is I've taken 1 sheet of 12 by 12 and cut it into 3 lengths of 4 inches width. I've then scored it down the middle at my 6 inch mark, but I also need to score it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of cardstock, fold it in half down that score mark at 6 inches. I'm going to pop it into here just to make sure I've got everything nice and lined up and nice and straight. Grab my bone folder and just really score that. So that's 1 page, but I need another score line. So what I'm going to do is I've got this folded in half, so I've got 2 pieces here. I'm going to pop this on to my 1 inch mark. Let me just move this down a bit so you can actually see my 1 inch mark, which is just there at 2.5 centimeters. I'm going to pop that onto that 1 inch mark, and with my scoring blade, not my cutting blade, I'm going to run that over that cardstock. 3 or 4 times just to make sure that scoring has gone through both levels, okay? So you're going to do that on all of those pages. So I've already done them just for the fact that this can be a little bit of a time consuming. And once you've done that, you can grab then each page and just gently fold it along that 1 inch score line. So done one. So I'm just going to give that a gentle fold, and that's just going to allow our pages to fold. Because each one of these pages here, I don't know if I can show it to you on here, yep, is double-sided, okay? So it's one strip. Just fold it in half, and that's what gives each page that strength that it needs. Okay, so they're all our pages cut. Oops, and one of them is scored in the wrong spot. Let me just rescore that one. Must have got carried away this morning and only scored it at 2 centimeters rather than at 1 inch. Let's give that a bit more of a score. You're not going to notice that little mistake because it's going to get hidden within our binding. So let me just fix that up. Okay. That's better. So they're all our pages all done. Pop those to one side. Then you need a strip of designer series paper. And I've chosen this one, and I'm going to use this side as my main side. Okay. And we're going to, this piece here is 12 inches by your 4 inches. Okay. Which is just a little bit over 4 centimeters. And that's why I'm doing this in 4 centimeters, a bit over 10 centimeters. And that's why I'm doing all of this in inches. So I'm keeping this everything the same. So what I'm going to do now is I want to score this. I'm actually going to use my scoreboard rather than that one. I've got my scoreboard here. Got my bone folder. Let me just bring that down so it's in your view. So I'm popping my 12 inches across the top. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to score down at 1 inch, at every inch. Now, don't press down too hard, because if you do, especially if you're using a stylus, it's going to go right through your designer series paper. I like to use my bone folder for this because it's a little bit gentler on your designer series paper. And we're just going to score that at 1 inch all the way along. Okay. So that's all we're going to do with that, and pop that to one side. So now we're going to fold this, concertina fold it along each of those score lines. And you just want to make sure that each one is meeting up with the other. Give it a good burnish. Mine is not quite as straight as what I would like, but that's okay. I can live with it. You want to try to keep it as straight as you can because you don't want your designer series paper going off at an angle. So you do want to fold it, keeping it all lined up. And really, I want this edge here to be as straight as possible. Mine is out a little bit. Oops, let me just fold this a little bit better. Okay, so that's what you're going to end up with, is a concertina piece just like that. Then we're going to take each of our pages. Now, as I said, this is quite easy and quick to do, and we're going to use some double-sided tape. Now, you could use your liquid glue if you want, but I do like to use my double-sided tape for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so let me just work out where this is going to go. So each one of these pages is going to slip into there. And all I'm going to do is put a piece of tape along that cut edge on my designer series paper. And I'm not doing every edge, I'm only just doing that fold there. So I'm just really worrying about one side of it. So I've done that edge there, which is my first one with the cut edge. Okay, and then I'm folding it down and doing this second one. I'm going to fold that pleat down and do the next one. It's really just to hold your pages in place while we make the holes we need to make. Fold that one. That one. And that one. You could leave that one, the last one, if you wanted to, and I would probably just do this here. So I may not pull the tape off that last one. So the cut edge side on each end has got that on there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my tearing tape, take one of my pages, place it along. Now it's up to you whether you want to pull this all out, but place that along that score line or just on the inside of that score line on your designer series paper, lining up your bottom edge. You want to try to get this as straight as you possibly can and adhere that down. Okay, then this one here is going to fold over the top. Now this is where you've got to be very careful and make sure that all your pages are lining up. Whoops, that's not wanting to come off. Let me just try that again. Hello, Joan. Thank you for joining us today. We're just making a fun little mini album. So here's my second page. So I want basically I'm more concerned about this outside edge staying correct and that part there all lining up. Okay, so we want each page to be laying perfectly on top of each other. So now I'm going to fold that over again, take off that piece, line up my pages, and press down. Now I can see here I've got a little bit of a, pages aren't quite folded correctly there, so that's okay. This is just a guide. Now I do have to apologize. I should have done a live last Tuesday night, but my husband and I have had a few medical issues this week, and I had to go and have a blood test done, and he ended up having to go and have a blood test done. Not that we ever really go to the doctors. We don't usually get sick, touch wood. But I get stressed out. I don't like needles, and I don't like giving blood. So I sort of freaked out a little bit. And I had to do that on the Wednesday morning, which meant that I wasn't allowed to eat after 9 o'clock on the Tuesday night, and I was sort of worrying and stressing about that and completely forgot that I had a live to do. So I'm really sorry if anyone was sort of waiting for my live, but that's why it didn't happen. But anyway, we're both all good. He's good, I'm good, which is the main thing. And they got the blood out of me. It was touch and go. I just didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to do it. Now, we've got that last page there to do. Now, as I said, I have put tape there. I'm actually going to leave it. I'm going to take the tape off this end one here, which is that last flap. There's my cut edge there. Yeah, it does come first, doesn't it, Deborah? But it's just I was not. Oh, I tell you, I was out of it. I had the blood test done at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and I think I was just so emotionally exhausted that I was a write-off for the rest of the day. I sat in front of the TV for the rest of all Wednesday and did not move. I think I had one customer come in to drop something off for sewing, and that was about it. I didn't see anybody. Okay, so there's our little accordion folded book. Okay, so that's like that. So now we just have to put some holes into that. Make sure all our pages are in the right spot. Now, ideally, I should have had that folded much neater across there, but it's not. It actually is not too bad. And because I've used a relatively plain sort of colour with just a little bit of a pattern, it doesn't really show up that much. Now, if you wanted to add extra space in between your pages, you can get a little bit of chipboard. And I've just got a piece here. Hi, Deb. How you going? I'm glad you're able to jump in. Just got a bit of chipboard here, and I've cut this at 2 centimeters width. And what you would do if you wanted to add a bit of space in between each page is just cut that a little bit narrower and cut it a little bit, not quite the length. So that's 4 inches in width. So I would probably cut it probably about 3 and 4, 5, 6, 3 and 7/8. So you cut a little bit of cardstock like for this is chipboard. Don't go too thick a piece of chipboard. It's only really if you're going to be adding lots and lots of layers into this, because I mean the more you add in here, the thicker it's going to be. And then in this section here, I would just add a little bit of adhesive onto that, and you can stick that down, and that will give you a space in between each page if you're wanting to add more in there. And I would actually add your chipboard to the designer series paper on this side rather than onto your cardstock. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. The only thing is if you're going to add your chipboard to give it more space in between each page, when it comes to do our next step, you're going to have to do each part individually, because what we're going to do now is take the, let me just put my trimmer away and grab this. If you've got one of these, it's really, really handy. But what if you're going to do it with the chipboard, you're going to have to cut or punch through each one individually. Okay. Now, without the chipboard, I can usually cut through probably around about 2 with my crocodile. So what we're going to do is we want to get our holes on this first. Now, I'm going to use this as my guide, because then you can see if you use this or if you use a, and you can tell mine's not quite straight. I've got a little bit of a white border there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, just want to see, whoops, I'm just losing, I've just got some scrap cardstock here, which I'm just about to lose. So let me just grab that so we don't have it all over the place. Move it completely out of the road. Pop that down in there for the minute. There we go. Yeah, I've got a little bit crooked. I don't know whether you can see it, but I've got a little white edge just there. Now, I'm not going to worry about it because that's actually going to be my back page, and I'm going to make this one my front. So I'm going to start from here. So really, if I had all this all nice and lined up, I should have had that perfectly there, though it's not hanging. So maybe this is just slightly cut crooked as well, but I'm not going to worry myself too much. But I am going to use this as my guide, and I am going to sort of eyeball this a little bit. What I'm going to do is just trace a circle just on either side. So that's where I want my punch to punch out circles. Now, of course, you could do this with just a normal 2-punch. Yeah, you just do normal where you've got it makes the 2 holes in one hit. But you may struggle getting it through the thicknesses, but you would have to go through like one thickness like that at a time. I should be able to, with my crocodile, be able to go through 2. So what I'm going to do is line these up. Now this is where you can sort of play a little bit, and if things aren't quite lined up as straight as what you want, and maybe bring that up a little bit there, but I'm more concerned about my pages being in line. Okay, so hold that. You're going to need your biggest hole on your crocodile, which is this one here. I'm just going to poke that paper out so I can actually see through it. Pop that over, line up that hole. Now, if you're not going to use the metal strips to hold your little book apart, you could put your holes closer together, because if you're going to use ribbon, it doesn't really matter. But just remember that you only need the 2 holes. Now, if you're going to make one of these, but make it wider, so wider than your 4 inches, which you could do, like if you wanted to do one that's 6 inches wide, then I would probably be looking at putting in 4 holes rather than 3. Just want to poke that through, line that up, and cut. Because if you have 3 holes, then your ribbon is going to have to go back down. You're going to have 2 pieces going down through 1 hole. So what you want to do is you want to have even numbers. So then when you tie it, so if I bring a piece of ribbon up, it's going to tie there. If I have another 2 holes, so you'd have to work out your spacing in between, if you get what I'm talking about. So once you've done that, so there's your first 2 pages done. We're then going to layer this down, and again, just follow suit. Just trace out those holes using the first 2 holes you've made as a guide. Bring your next 2 pieces together. You can bring those out just to make things a little bit easier and flatter to handle. This is probably the most fiddliest part, is putting all of this together. And probably I'm going to try doing 3 holes just to make things a little bit faster. So the crocodile should be able to handle it if I get rid of that. Oh, just had to squeeze that with 2 hands. I'm going through about 8 layers of cardstock for here. Just be careful doing this over your plate. I know your plate, your glass mats It'll take a fair amount of knocking, but I wouldn't want to drop your crocodile on it. So now we've only got one more to do. So let me just draw those holes in there. Make sure that page is in. It's the last one. Make sure all those pages are lined up. Get rid of that paper in there so I can see. One more. Okay, pop that away. I'm also trying to teach myself to put things away as you go. Then you've got less of a mess to clean up at the end of the day. Okay, so let's put this schmozzle back together again. So we've got one page, two pages, 3, 4, bring that one back in that way, 5, 6. So that's where now you can either go to this type of fastening, okay, but as I said, you do have to be careful if you are using glue. I am going to, what I might do is I'm going to pop a little bit, because this is where it's sort of, I'm going to just pop a little bit of adhesive just in here, because I just want to tie all these together a little bit, just to make it easier to tie up, because I'm going to tie this one up with ribbon. Now this is a good spot to actually use up some of your ribbon stash that you might have from, you know, that you've collected over the years. And you want to use the first piece that you want to tie this up. You want it to be a fairly strong ribbon, but something that's going to be easy to tie. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking all of that, just that little bit off. It's just a little bit of adhesive. You could even use your seal to do this. It's just to hold it together while I'm sort of trying to get the ribbon in, really. It's nothing to do with how the book works or anything like that. Okay, let me just get rid of some of this rubbish from here. So it's just going to hold that just together. So I'm not going to use those because I don't really want to cut myself, which I have done in the past. And I'm going to grab, I'm actually going to use this black and white gingham ribbon. And that's my back. So I'm just going to fold that. Now, if you've got a darning needle or something like that, you could use that to thread your ribbon through. Yeah, put your, like a tapestry needle. It's got a wide head on it. I'm just going to cut this at a bit of an angle. I mean, I have got other tools behind me, my sewing tools, to be able to thread this through. Now, I haven't got my holes all lined up perfectly, and that's probably a reason why I'm not getting this threading through, but I'm threading it from the back to the front. And I'm going to use that take a pick tool just to push that through, just to make that a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to give myself plenty there. Cut off the other side. Okay, so you've got that tied through there. And then you can either tie this off in a bow or tie it off in a knot. Now, what I'm going to do, because I have allowed myself a lot, I'm going to tie this off in a knot, because what I want to do is make this look a little bit shabby. Cut that off there. And I'm also going to pop another one, just threading that through there. So that's my front through, and I'm going to tie. I'm going to leave them long at the moment. Another one there. Actually, I might just, it's probably a little bit too long. Try not to waste this ribbon. I really do like it. Going to actually tie it. You can tie these at any length you want. Do a single knot, a double knot. And I'm going to pop another piece. And I know this one's going to be short, but that's okay. I just want the black to pop through a bit. So that's my black one. And then I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to cut these at about 20 centimeters in length, and I'm going to cut 3 of these as well. Probably could have done a bit less than 20. Doing everything in 3s because I really want to fill this up and make this look full. But as I said, you could just do one. You could use a bit of lace in here. You could use some of that nice tulle we had from a few years ago. And you probably could have used a bit less than what I've said. You can move these, because you're just doing a knot, you can move them around a bit. So I'm going to grab now. Look, I've got a little bit of, and I'm going to actually go a bit less. I'm going to go 15. So I've got some old seam binding here. So I haven't thrown it away. I love this stuff. I wish they'd bring this back. Now, of course, you don't have to do this at this point. You could wait until you finish decorating your book, but hey, I'm in the swing of it. If you've got a bit of this, what colour was that? That's soft suede in some ribbon, or even dye a bit of ribbon with your blends. So this is all pretty. Probably could have cut this down quite a bit more, but I'm just going to cut this all at random lengths. I'm not being too fussy. Cut it at angles if you want to cut it at angles. Just, as you can see, there's a bit of wastage here. Of course, that needs to be filled up quite a bit more as yet, but you could add any charms or anything you want into that. So if you've got any charms, but later on I will add a lot more different ribbons in there, add a bit of cream in there, add some more pinks, but you can actually then cut that down and do that, add as much as you want in there just to decorate. So you've got that one piece at the back. Hello, Marie, how are you? You're not too late. You can catch up. Oh, it's going to be cold where you are. -45 to -50. Oh, that is cold. Oh, stay inside. Watched a short clip the other day of two girls wetting their hair and going outside, and the hair basically turning their heads up, so putting their heads down so their hair hung down. Within seconds, it was frozen. It was just like, oh, I just couldn't do it. But anyway, I think that gives you a bit of an idea of what you can do with that. So now we can start decorating our pages. So if we go back to the one I've already done as my example, okay, so that's the way I decorated that particular one. So I'm just going to fold that back. Now you can do both sides of your pages because we have given strength. At the moment, I'm going to start with just doing one. I have cut enough cardstock to do two, but just for today, I'm going to do one. So I've cut out something to do a page similar to this. So what I've got here is I've cut some cardstock. Now this one here is Petal Pink. Of course, you could have used any of your other colors. It just depends on what designer series paper you're using, but I'm going to be putting this one on here. So I'm going to use, actually I might even just use Seal today to do this because we want to do this fairly quickly. So I just thought I'd just decorate a couple of pages just to show you what you can do. But you just want to play around with this and just decorate your pages. So this one here, I've cut the cardstock down to 12 by 9.5. I'm just going to work on this side here just so I can see. So it's that piece on there. And I've got a second piece here, so when I want to do the other side, I can do that piece over there. And then I've got a little piece of designer series here, designer series paper here, and I've cut that down another 0.5 centimeter smaller. So this piece here was 9.5 in width. So this one here I've cut at 9 centimeters. Okay, so this is where I'm flipping backwards and forwards between inches and centimeters. I'm terribly sorry, but it's 1/4 inch smaller. Okay, so if that was 4 inches, this one here in width is 4 3/4. Then this one here is 3 3/4 and 3.5. But all I want to do on this piece here is just tear, but I want a little bit of that white showing, just like I've got on this one here. It's up to you. You just tear, so I'm tearing that towards myself. Now I want to just make that a little bit more of an angle, tidy that up a bit if I want, and I'm going to stick that piece just down on there like that. And then we're going to pop that onto there. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you could have left, I've put adhesive down this edge here. You could have left that open so a photo could tuck in. But with this one, I'm sort of thinking a photo would go across. But you need to trim your photos down quite a bit, okay? So that's why I'm sort of suggesting if you go somewhere like Harvey Norman, where they have actually, you can print little 3x4s, which works quite well for an album like this. Now we need to put a little strip across here. I've kept, because I've cut a whole stack of mats here in different papers and different colors that coordinate with these papers. So I was just all ready to go. But I've got all these little leftover strips. I haven't thrown any of these little bits and pieces away because all I want to do is just add a little strip of something down there that coordinates. So you could use something like that one so it's the same color, because the theme with this one had green with a little spot in it. I used that one, but you could also use, let's have a look, see what I've got here. Okay, that's a little piece of designer series paper. No, I tend to go for the blues because I do like my blues, but I want it a bit smaller than that piece there. I'll tell you what I do have in my little stash up here is this designer series paper here. I think I'm going to cut a little strip of that. So let me just pop this out of the side to one side. I'm going to take my little mini trimmer here. This is where these come in handy, and I just want to cut, and I'm not really worrying about the measurement. I just want to cut a small bit. It's probably only about 1/4 of an inch or just under 1/2 centimetre. Just a little bit of texture on it. And I just want to trim that down. So I'm just going to trim that down to there. And I will need my glue for this. A little bead of glue on there. Now, of course, you could keep decorating this. You could add, I've got little bits and pieces here that I've used elsewhere, but you could add, you know, that probably gets a bit lost in that for me. But you could add a sentiment or anything along that once you've worked out what photos and everything you want to go on there. So let's have a look what I've done on my next page here, because I'm using this as my template. Okay, so this one here I've just done, I haven't done anything on my page. So I'm going to turn that page over, give that a good fold there. And with this one, it's going to be quite simple. So I've already pre-cut, and I've chosen these papers here. Now, it took me a little while to get these pieces with, so, excuse me, a little bit of a bird in it. Now I'm going to cut these two pieces at 4 inches in width. So I'm just going to bring my little trimmer in again. Going to see if I can do these both together. It's a good way of using up scraps. Not that I have that many scraps to use up, but if you've got, at the end of the day, if you're coming to the end of a pack of designer series paper and you've got a whole stack of scraps, this is a really good way to use them. So I've just cut those at 4 inches. So this one here is 1 1/4 inches wide. This one's 1 inch wide. And then I've done this one, excuse me, at 3/4 of an inch. So with this one here, I'm going to layer all of these. So again, I'm going to use my seal on this. I find when you use your seal, if you bring your seal back up to a 95-degree angle, it'll break a lot easier than trying to pull it. And then I'm just going to layer this in the middle. Leaving that edge there, and then again, this one on top. And then we're just going to pop that onto there. So again, I'm just going to pop some seal on the back of this. And then layer that on that page, just like that. So how would you use an album like this? Would you put photos in it? Would you put Bible verses in it? How would you tend to use this? Or would you just give it a gift and let the person who receives it? For some reason, I've got a little bit of hang out there, and I don't know where it is because I didn't use a wet glue. Okay, so let's have a look. Turn the next page. So this one, in this page here, I've matted a piece of cardstock and then I've put a bit of trim on the end there. So I did play with an idea for this. Where did I put it? Okay, then what have I got? So I'm going to use that as my piece to go underneath. So what I'm going to do is just mat this up this way. So this one here I'm going to trim down slightly smaller. So I've cut that one at 12 by 9.5. So this one here I'm going to cut it down to 9. Which is almost 3.5. 9 by, and I just want to take off that 1/2 inch off the width of that. I'm just using that as my guide. I'm just guesstimating that. So that piece is going to go on there like that. So let's pop that down. Just want a little bit of that floral coming through. Now, of course, when you put photos on this, you can mat your photos in a bit of white, tie the white background of your pages in with it if you wanted to. Or you could, yeah, just leave your photos in, just cut your photos at 3x4 and put them in like that. Okay, so I've got on this one here, I've got a little piece of torn paper there and another piece of torn paper there. So because this has got sort of a little bit of that pinky color in it, I'm thinking of, I might use this as my torn. Okay, so this is just one of the designer series paper. So I'm going to tear that at about, around about a centimetre. So that's going to go down to there, but I do need to trim that. I'm actually just wondering whether I might make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so I'm going to cut this here. I want to make it a little bit wider. So I think the centimetre is just going to be a little bit too narrow. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Just going to use that piece there. Use my trimmer. What did I say? I cut it that at 9 centimetres. So there we go. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, just wondering what I've got here lying around that I can use. No, doing this sort of thing, you end up with lots of scraps lying around. It's like, how can I use it? Even bring or we could bring the blue back in. Just cut a little bit of this. So again, we just want to cut it. Actually, we want to tear it, not so much cut. So we're just going to tear this. We're going to tear it from this side. I want a bit of that white. Whoops. Didn't tear that too straight, did I? It's okay. Let's just get that bit extra tear. So that's going to go on there. That's going to go on there like that. And then this one is just going to go over the top. I might just take a little bit off this. So I'm just going to grab a piece of post-it note here just to make that bit a little bit longer because I just want this a little bit narrower. only making it narrower by a couple of mil. Not by much, just by a whisker. Because what I want to do is then put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this. That piece is going to go on there and just leave a little bit of that pinky purple just showing through. So I've just got a little bit of a colour showing through, and I'm just going to trim that down. So my glass mat's going to need a good clean after this. Just grab that seal again. Oops, I did this one a little bit different. My original, I had it going from edge to edge, but this one here, not quite. But that's okay. That's going to look good there. And let's pop some seal on the back of this. There is so much you can do with this because you've got so many beautiful papers in this colours. I mean, if you look at the colour of this page here, you could add so many more colours into here. We're going to pop that in this way. So if you're going to do the same on the other side, you just do a mirror image of it. Okay, so you do your trim. So then you've got two photos. Whoops. Whoops, it's in now. It's going to have to stay. It's probably needs to be up a little bit more, but that's fine. So now we've still got our front to do. We've got that page. We've got that page. We've got that one. Okay, so for that one, that's the one I did on this page here. So what we've got here, so we've got pink floral there, and I've got the birds in there. I've got the blue floral there. What we could use is, this is your, that's bubble bath. We could put bubble bath on there. And actually, I'm thinking I would like to put that onto with that. I like that. Okay. Okay. Let's get rid of this person here who's decided to jump on. Not that I don't believe in what he says. God does love us. But I think for today, we're going to just delete him. Thank you, William. Lovely message, but not for right now. Okay. So I'm going to use, because I really love the colours in this. But this is a bit too wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of, okay, I'm going to tear this first. I want to tear this at a bit of an angle. So I really want to tear this across there. I want that bird. And I want some of these lovely pinky colours in it. So I'm going to tear that across like that. Then I'm going to cut that. As I said, this is just all, no measurements really needed. So I've cut that there, and that has to be 9 centimetres. So we'll remove that top part. So that's the bit I'm going to use on that. So let's grab this piece out. Because I just think that is gorgeous. Okay, but you can keep these pages really, really simple. You don't need to over decorate. Because remember, this is just a really quick little book that you can make as a gift. Hello, Marianne. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I just want this to be like a very quick little book that you could make for anyone. Just use up some scraps. You can add some die cuts into this. There is so much you could add to this lovely little book. Now I'm just going to get my page in here squarer than what I did last time. Okay, so remember, if you're going to mirror image that, you would have this piece coming off here. So you could do a double T. You could do two pieces, tear off the end, and then cut straight down the middle, so it's almost exactly the same pattern coming the other way. Okay, so we're up to our last page in our book, and as you can see, our pages are getting thicker and harder to turn. So here's our last page, and I don't know whether I didn't do anything for my last page in this book. So let's think, what can we do? So we've still got our front to do. We've got that one. We've got that. So I'm only doing this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos. Now, if we not played with any designer series paper yet, I do have. Let's have a look, because I sort of had a bit of a play. I cut out this earlier because I thought, oh, that's nice. So let's have a look what we've got here in our, and I actually like that one. So we can pop that on there. And there was something else I was thinking. Now, can I do it or not? Is this going to fit through? Oh, it's whether this is going to fit through my mini cut and emboss without ruining it. Where are my plates? Because this is just only just going to fit. It's a little bit wider than my plates, but that's okay, because what I want to do is I want to use this die. Now, these are the dies that come from the Everyday Detail dies. Now, this is the one with the stamp set is called, well, stamp set's Everyday Details as well. Okay, so I just really love, I hadn't cleaned it out last time I ran it through. I've still got little dots in here. So I'm just trying to remove some of these. Should do all of this when you're finished. Clean everything up, put it away. My new mantra, clean everything up, put it away. Then I wouldn't be left doing all of this stuff afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to pop that. Don't know whether you can see. That's going to be the bottom edge. Just lining that up. Other plate is, where did I put it? Oh, Michelle. Put something down and you cannot find it. Grab a spare plate. Haven't got two plates here, have I? Okay. Just want to make sure I don't move anything. I'll pop that in there. I'm going to try to put this through without damaging my cardstock, because I really should be doing this one on the big machine because it's slightly wider. So everyone, I hope you got your fingers crossed for me. I'm trying not to damage my cardstock. I'm probably going to end up with a line across it. That's the problem. Let's see. Did I do it or not? I think I've done it. Oh, have I gone a bit crooked? I have gone a bit crooked. Are we going to be able to tell? What do we think? Should I do it again? Should I leave it for another time and grab the... I think it'll work. Usually I'm more pedantic than this, but I'm not being that pedantic today. I want to pop... Will that go onto there? Also, is that going to be too much? Or should I do maybe... Fortunately, some of these birdie prints are a little bit... It looks okay to you, Marie? Thank you. Vitamin. Thanks. Okay. I'm sort of thinking... I want to use that, I think, on my cover. So I'm not really wanting to... I mean, you could cut out more at a later date. But I'm just trying to... What have we got over here in my other scraps? It'd be nice to use one of these, but it's just so such a big design. I actually started... That's here somewhere. I'm just sort of feeling like that got those holes there, and that's just getting too lost. Like it's too many holes. It's even too big. No, I think I like the white coming through it. I just need something else to go on there just to take away a little bit. But I'm just not quite sure. This is where I can sit and I procrastinate a lot on what I'm going to do. See, that would work quite well on that. A little strip of that. Have we done a little strip? We've done that there. We've got the birds there. Got the blue on that one. We've got that one on there. That's going to go there, but it does need something in here. Need something just to draw a little bit of attention away from this because it is a little bit crooked. Not much though. They're cut the wrong way. The other thing is, let me have a look what I've got here. Sorry, I'm thinking and talking to myself. Wish you guys are here to answer me back. No, don't want to do that one. That's what I was thinking, was that. Do I add a strip of that? Or, oh, There you go. There went my plates and everything. Put that over there. I'm going to add a bit of this ribbon in there as well. And even though it's a blue, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. Probably cut it a bit too small for myself now. I'm not going to tie a proper bow. I just want to tie a little imitation bow. Just using that as a guide. So just use anything that's a bit bigger. And then I'm going to just give that a cut there. Now that's going to go on my page like that. So I want that to go there. Okay, folks, tell me where I've put my seal. Just right there. Okay. So I'll put that at 22. I'm using my grid paper there as a guide, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive there and a bit of adhesive there. Want my blue on my inside. Just move that down a little bit. I want that bow just to be about there, about there. Just trim this off. Okay, let's bring in the book again. Let's have a look. So what do we think? Yes or no? We could add, okay, let me just trim this. So that's going to be that, like that. This is where we could do a little bit of fussy cutting. Now we could go that particular bird, which has got the blues in it, and it'll also pick up, even though it's not the same blue, it'll pick up on that. Or we could go completely different, go the purpler one. I think I like this one. We're just going to do a bit of quick fussy cutting. So we still have our front page to do. Now you could use all sorts of scraps. If you've got scraps in leaves and that, you can use that and add them in, which actually I have. And we might just do that with this one. You can cut out different shapes using your punches and use those. And I've got that there, and then underneath all my little bits and pieces here, I've got this, which is actually goes with that soft sea foam beautifully, which is little leaves left over from last week's project. I want to add, I have cut that ribbon a little bit short, but we want to just add that there. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of, actually we might pop a dimensional on the back of him, a couple of them. Just using the mini ones here because I just had those handy. I'm going to pop one more on the inside there. Pop that there. Then we can use need to add too many, just add a couple of these, just to add a little bit of interest, but I'm going to add 3 of them because I've got 3, but also 2, it's down to the thing that odd numbers are better than even. Tuck that into there, won't need to use that one. So let's put a bit of seal on the back of this. Just not adding any seal over that. Whoops. You want that ribbon to sit down flat. Actually, we'll just cut it off. It'll make it easier. Oops. Sort of. Oh, and that's all over my fingers. Let's pop this one. I like to do things from where I'm lining up my shortest and my longest rather than my longest and my shortest. Whoops. Now I've got to get this straight because the other part's not so straight. That didn't go down straight. This is where the liquid glue comes in real handy. That's better. Now that's just lifting there, so I am going to get a bit of my liquid glue because we didn't put any adhesive there, so I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue in there. Push that down. Maybe need just a bit more glue just in that area there. Don't want to put too much because we don't want it oozing out. Okay, let's have a quick look at this again. Because when you're doing albums like this, you do want to keep going through just to make sure you continue with your flow. We do need to add some more of those other ribbons in there, and I'll need to add a bit more of the softer colours because this blue is quite, and the black and white is quite standing out. And that's another ribbon I could have used as a black and white ribbon on there as well. So you've got that page, but we could add, so you could put a little bit of the black and white, be too much in that. Could have added a little bit of the black in there just to tie that, because you do want to tie some of those colours you're putting in on the other side in. And this is where your silicone mat would have come in handy if I had it handy. I'm just wanting to put a little bit on there because my page is hollow. I'm going to open that up through there and just stick that down there. A little bit of glue. So sometimes you just need to go backwards and forwards and revisit a few pages and just tie a few things in. So then it all ties in. I don't want to cover up too many of those birds because the idea of that paper was the birds. Sorry, this page is just not wanting to play with me for me. Open that up. This is just adding another dimension. You could probably put a little bit of couple of glue dots in there to hold that down. Okay, so that's that page. There's this one here. It looks a little bit lost, but then you could cut stamp a sentiment and pop it into like a little one-liner, if you know what I mean by that. I'll show you some examples in a minute. I haven't got anything stamped or cut, but there's lots of ways you can keep working on this. This I definitely need to put something else in there. It needs whether it is a bow or something. It does need something, but I'm not quite sure yet what, so I'm going to leave that page. That one there I'm quite happy with, if that would just glue down, except it is a little bit, I don't think you can tell so much, it's not quite square. Could have made my pages a little bit longer in there, but that's okay. I think you're getting the gist of it. But let's do our cover. So we've got that on there, and there's that. Now I'm using up lots of bits and pieces that I had left over from other cards. So I had these left over from the cards the other week. Okay. So these are the sentiments left over from the card I did the other day. So I've got You Make Me Happy, Get Well. I don't think we need to get well. We could use Celebrate, because you could give this as a birthday book. Or we could use Hello. Even You Make Me Happy. Happy Day. That could be used somewhere in it, just because. Love You. Oh, found another leaf. We might need it yet. Okay, With Sympathy isn't going to work. But you can see how you can keep your little bits and pieces, and then we can keep on reusing them. So what do you think? Should we make this one You Make Me Happy, Thinking of You? I don't think Thinking of You is a good one. You Make Me Happy or Love You? I think You Make Me Happy. I think I like that. Okay, so I wanted to make something underneath this to act as a frame, and we've used one of these, like we've used these dies, so I thought we might just use these dies again, so that'd be a nice shape. So the color we could put underneath this, remembering we've got soft sea foam there, so we could even, if we wanted to, tie that in and have a soft sea foam on the front. We can then have, I want to do something with this frame, so we could either tie that color in, or I don't think we've used any of this. That's your fresh freesia, and that goes quite well with that. We'll just have to make sure I find some fresh freesia something. Don't know whether I've got anything. I might have to color something to add some fresh freesia into here, but I am going to lighten that up a lot by putting in some lace and things. I might even take out some of this blue yet. Okay, what do you think? Do you think like those two together? If I cut that out, okay, we're just going to go with the flow and just do it. So I need to trim this down. can feel my plates on the floor down near my feet, but I have got a spare set, so let's pull those out. I don't know whether I have got, I think only the white one went down there. So I've got 1, 2, we need a third plate. Do I have a third plate handy? I'm sure I probably do somewhere. Oh, where have I put them? Here we go. Here's a spare. Here's a new one. Brand new one. It'll be here somewhere. I'll clean up and I will find it. And we're going to clean up after we're finished. So we can always make sure we've got a clean workspace to start with again. Okay, so let's pop that in. Now, I could trim that down and keep it, or trim it down and use it. That's the one we're going to use now. I'm going to pop these away so I don't lose them, which is what I should have done to the other ones in the first place. Look, I am getting better. That's going to go onto there like that. Our birds can go there. Even though I'd stamped this with, what did I use? I used Berry Burst the other day. It'll still work. And that's going to go on top. Is that too much? What do you think? That's going to go on there like that. I think that'll look pretty. It's nice and bright, just what we want it to be. Okay, so let's go back. Since we're using seal with this project, add some seal onto here. Let's line this up in my grid. And I'm going to have it slightly higher. So I've got a little bit more space at the bottom than I have to at the top. It's only a little bit, okay, because I want to have that sitting there, and we're going to add use up these dimensionals since there's not that many left. So what's everybody got planned for this weekend? Anyone doing anything exciting? I have just got lots of sewing to do, so that's all I will be doing. Maybe just a little bit of creating that I've got still left to do, or a commitment I've made on something. So I'm running behind in that. Otherwise, I've just got sewing I have to get done for some customers. Okay, so that I'm going to have going across there like that. I want a happy coming off, and that's why I've got it a little bit longer at the bottom. So again, I'm going to grab all these ends, of dimensionals. So I'm just going to use these up. You're going away? You're going to stay in and bug hubby. Going to stay. Oh, I wouldn't blame you. I'd be staying next to the wood fire too. And I'll be bugging hubby as well. Catching up on a few things after being away. Where did you go, Deborah? Did you go anywhere exciting? You're just going to stay warm, Lorraine? Whoops, I need something on that. Okay. I've managed to pick up, it must have been dimensionals from a kit because they're slightly thicker dimensionals. They're not thin like our other ones. And so these are slightly thicker. That's okay though. Come on, off you come, the back. Oh, and then I'll put that dimensional on the wrong spot. I didn't want it on that because it's going to sit on the other. It's okay. Let's see if I can just take that off without damaging my sentiment too much. I wanted that on the Y, not on the... Because what I want to do is that's going to sit coming off there. Oh, maybe I do need a dimensional. Probably do need a dimensional underneath that after all that. It's okay. See if I can pop one underneath there. There we go. And I did find, where did I throw that? Let's get rid of that. I think I'm going to get rid of those two. They're just about had it. Found that little leaf before. Where did we end up putting it? Let's move these dies over here with the rest of them. I've lost that little leaf. There we go. There's that one, and there's the other one that I was looking for. And I think, will we use those? Trying to use up some of these bits and pieces we've got. They're not necessarily the same colour, but we have used that colour. This is Old Olive. We have used Old Olive in the book. I think that can go in there. Now, of course, you can add some bling to this if you wanted to add bling. I'm probably not going to decorate this anymore until I work out what photos I want to pop in here, because it will also dictate what other elements I add to this. And I'm just going to add this one. Whoops, adding glue everywhere, but not necessarily pop that one in there. And later on I might cut a few more leaves or something and pop in there as well, just to fill that up a little bit more. That's all I've got of that at the moment. Now this I'm going to pop on with glue because it's all fairly bulky. Just keep an eye on the time. I've already gone well over the time limit I wanted to work on. So thank you for everybody for sticking with me. But there we go. That's it. So, I mean, this can be, as I said before, this can be filled up with a bit more in there. I do want to put some more lighter colours, some more whites and things in there. I'm going to go through my stash of ribbons that I've got and just really fill this up. I mean, if you've got trinkets left, which I've probably got somewhere, I hope I've got somewhere. I don't know. Have got rid of a few bits and pieces. These are the ones I'm thinking of. These are from years ago. Yeah, you got these little leaves and that you could tie them on. There was ones we had once with birds and so forth on as well. But you could add, these have got little bows and little flowers. So I might even add a few of those in. They were the from the bird ballad trinkets, which is the ones I was thinking of. So but you could add some of those. You could even add the little butterflies and birds we've got in the brass. There's lots of little things. This one here, just get a bit of baker's twine, tie it on there with a few good knots and hang them down, hang it off the end of this. There's quite a few bits and pieces. So until I actually really work out what photos I'm going to pop in here, that's probably about as much as what I'm going to do. Of course, by leaving this bigger, you could put a whole photo in there if you wanted to, but you would need to trim it down. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let's just go through this one more time very quickly. So there's our front page. So we have that page there. And as I said, you can add more embellishments once you start putting your photos in, and you can work out what you want. But it's just a really simple little book using up scraps of cardstock. And the only thing that I would suggest is you just need your 12 by 12 in your white and your 12 by 12 designer series paper to make the actual book itself. So there's my original, and it's not very interesting on the front because the front never got done. But I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know if you make one. Would love to see it. Just tag me in it if you put it up on Facebook. So sorry for keeping you so late, but it is a fun little project that you can make. And again, you don't have to use all the ribbons. You could just tie one ribbon and a nice big bow, which would work quite well as well. Or you could do a similar thing to this and use these as well. Just got to be very careful with these. As I said, you could easily cut yourself, and that's why I recommend at least tying quite a bit of bows around these things, so then you don't have them to cause injury. So have a lovely day. Thank you again for joining me. Take care, and I will remember this Tuesday to jump on and we'll create something else. So have a lovely day. Take care. Bye for now.